New England meteorologist Serena Arnold here. Hey, I don't have a lot of words to describe this mess that's going to be coming in here for Saturday, Sunday, March 29th and 30th, other than a show. We are talking rain, freezing rain, sleet, snow, and back again, and up and down, and all over the place consistently for 2 days. Let me show you the graph model forecast. This reminds me of that movie Tommy Boy, where it's like you're driving along, and bam, and then he like slams the cars together on that guy's desk and sets him on fire. It feels a little bit like what this weekend's going to be. One of the most important data sources that we can have in a time like this, in a storm like this, is weather balloons, radiosondes that we release, which have been cut back from the Gray main office and the Albany office. This is going to be really hard and make forecasting this weekend much harder. Because you guys know it's what's happening up above the ground, between the clouds and the ground, that determines what precipitation type we get, because it's all starting to snow. So the question is, does it warm up in the mid layers and lower layers of the atmosphere enough to give us rain, or are we going to have shallow cold air trapped at the surface? The answer is yes, to provide sleet and freezing rain. But once again, if we don't have a weather balloon that goes through this twice a day in some areas, it doesn't give us a real good idea of what's going on, and the models are also not going to get it right. So having said that, let me try to bring some clarity to an absolute mess. Winter storm watches and winter storm advisories are in this place. I'm not going to focus much further south because most of the impact is going to be like this area. So if you're Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, we're looking at more rain, less mess, but it's totally not completely free of that. I'll try to include you guys here. Looking at the winter storm watch through New Hampshire and Maine is for heavy mixed precip, snow accumulations greater than 6 inches possible in some northern locations, sleet up to 1/2 of an inch, limited ice accumulations, freezing rain up to 1/4 of an inch. And Vermont is the same thing for snow and ice. There are special weather statements, though, through those southern New England states, which oddly enough is for fire weather concerns with the low humidity and strong winds. They're just saying, hey, if a fire starts, it can get out of control pretty quick. So fire and ice side by side. How very 2025 of New England. No snow accumulation concerns with southern New England, but if we do look at these ice accumulation forecasts, we can see that I do think, and the National Weather Service agrees, that this is going to be creeping into like northern Massachusetts area and the central area, maybe even a little further south. I'll show you how to get the specific timing information for that for you in just a hot minute. For northern New England, here's what we're looking at for snowfall forecasts. So where it starts to change to yellow is where we're 6 to 8, and then that darker yellowish orange is 8 to 12. So seeing obviously northern locations and higher elevations seeing more snow, and that gradient drop to where as we're getting down towards like the Massachusetts state line, we're not really expecting any snow. So there you go. The ice forecast, however, I can't tell you the last time I saw purple on a map, which is the 0.75 to 1 inch. That's great. Here's Vermont and northern New York. God, it's a lot of red. And there's the rest of Maine. These graphics are amazing. Let me show you how you find them. You're going to go to weather.gov. You're going to look at this little map and you're going to click where you live. And when you get to this homepage, you're going to scroll down and find winter weather. And then here where you can look at probabilistic snowfall forecasts. You can look at ice accumulation forecasts. They also have onset, end timing, and beginning and end time graphics, which will populate as we get a little closer to the event. There is a lot of information here that would be very helpful to you. Reminder that your tax dollars have already paid for this. This is the National Weather Service's info, which is a division of NOAA. A certain administration is working very hard to defund this and also privatize these resources and try to sell them back to you. So let's go to the forecast discussion and give an overview of what we can expect for timing, and then I'm going to show you how you can find your precise hourly graph. They have a couple bullets here that are really helpful. The first one, 2 distinctive rounds of precip are coming, which is going to be having this continue through Sunday night. Mixed precip with accumulating snow to the north, freezing rain to the south, and a corridor of sleet snow in between. Right? So north, south, in between. A corridor of ice accretion is expected. It brings an elevated threat for power outages. It's trending to set up across the southern half of New Hampshire and York County, Maine, before progressively pushing north Sunday. And thank God they mentioned that wind is not expected to be a factor in this event. Could you imagine all the ice is going to be on stuff and then the wind blows on top of it? That's a bad day. They start off this discussion citing a lot of unknowns, talking about a cold front. Friday leaves a surface boundary to the south. It's going to push to the north, and then its northward progression is resisted by high pressure that's up in Canada, but the anticyclonic flow is going to cool the surface temperatures and how far north it goes. I mean, like, it goes on like this. The variables are crazy. So the accuracy of this is going to be questionable. What everyone needs to expect and understand is a mixed precipitation event for Saturday and Sunday. But this is a little bit of insight into kind of how we expect it to play out and why. First round of precip starts tonight here, Friday evening. And from a line from like Lebanon, New Hampshire to Wells, Maine. North of that, it's going to be a rainy, wintry mix. And south of that, it could mix, but they're expecting that line to really be variable. They're talking 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates in the New Hampshire mountains. While that's happening, we're looking at substantial ice accretion down here in the southern places, but all of this is going to be really dependent on the surface temperatures, meaning down here at ground level. Now, in that last storm, we got a sleet, and here they're saying the depth of the cold air is not going to be as great as the previous storm, thus the freezing rain potential looks a lot greater. As for Saturday evening, they're talking about ice could continue to grow in New Hampshire and far southern Maine. There remains uncertainty how consistent the precipitation is going to be at this time frame, and thus resultant amounts are absolutely in flux. They're telling you we do not have a lot of certainty here. Profiles, vertical profiles, weather balloons, don't have enough of those. The few we have continue to suggest freezing precipitation in the way of freezing rain, perhaps expanding south to the Mass New Hampshire border. That was just Saturday. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain can continue into Sunday. Profiles, there they are again, suggest snow accumulations will be limited with pronounced warm nose aloft, meaning more of that warm air up above, right here, which will give more sleet and freezing rain than snow. Travel will likely be difficult across the interior through much of the day Sunday, with additional ice accretion continuing the elevated threat for power outages. Southern areas will likely be warm enough for mainly rain, with temperatures rising through Sunday night. This will lead to precipitation becoming mainly rain across most of the area by Monday morning. Things do warm up a lot on Monday, climb into the 40s in northern locations, 60s in southern locations, which will be really nice after this weekend. But rain's going to continue. It's really not until Tuesday, maybe Wednesday even, that we're going to see things dry out. Now, that was a whole lot of information about what's going on, and you're going to want to know, okay, for where I live, what can I expect with the timing of this? Let me show you the best place to find it. You're going to go back to weather.gov, and in this box in the top left, you're going to type in your zip code or your city. I just went ahead and typed in Manchester. That's going to bring you to your local forecast page. Read this if you want, that's fine. You're going to scroll down to this graph. You can toggle on and off things that you want to see and the time you want to have it start, or just let it be as it is. But this shows you hour by hour what's going to be happening. So it's showing the rain starting after midnight tonight, being mostly rain tomorrow if you are in Manchester, changing over to freezing rain here Saturday evening and Sunday morning. Click up here for the next 2 days. And it's showing rain continuing on Sunday through Monday, and temperatures are really flat, but really peaking up. That's where we're going to see some reach the 60s on Monday. Now let's look at a slightly more interesting location. This is between Keene and Lebanon, and you can see that the rain, the precip starts tonight, but looking at periods of snow, freezing rain, and sleet, changing back over to rain tomorrow afternoon and going back to freezing rain Saturday night into Sunday morning, with it being followed up by all rain on Sunday into Monday. If we look at a more northern location like St. Johnsbury, Conway, what have you, we're looking at snow, and that's starting late tonight into Saturday morning, continuing during the day. That warm nose kicking in, changing things over to sleet, and then freezing rain Sunday morning. Lots of freezing rain on Sunday afternoon into the evening, changing over to rain. It is going to be lousy out there in a lot of locations. So playing through the forecast reflectivity just one more time, seeing the rain and snow showers coming in tonight and early tomorrow morning. And just notice this pink line that goes through central and southern Vermont, central New Hampshire. And just notice that this pink is kind of unrelenting that we have there. In southern locations, we're seeing a lot of rain. You'll notice this line shifts a little bit south. It shifts a little bit north again. It's going to be very hard to forecast exactly, when and where we're going to be seeing this and what's going on with the upper level dynamics. But here's this next round that's going to be coming in Sunday night into Monday as things are warming up. You see how much further north that ice line moves and how we're looking at a lot of rain instead afterwards. It's just nasty.